Welcome to the Journal podcast from the Chartered Insurance Institute, a place of thought-provoking discussion from the world of insurance and beyond. I'm Tim Hurst, Social Media and Production Manager at the Chartered Insurance Institute. Today, I'm joined by CII Group colleagues, Holly Porter, Executive Director for Market and Opportunities, Gaenor Jones, Regional Director for the Middle East and Central and South Asia, Kenny Su, Regional Director Asia Pacific, and Isaac Olubitan, Regional Director International, covering the Americas, Caribbean, Africa and Europe. We'll be discussing the CII's international work, looking back at some of this year's achievements and ahead to 2026. Here's my conversation with Holly, Gaenor, Kenny and Isaac. Hello to you all, and thank you for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you for inviting us. It's lovely to be here today.
Hello. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Really looking forward to this.
Thank you very much. And this is a very good opportunity to join the podcast today.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here today.
Wonderful. Great to actually have you all in the same room for once. We're normally spread out across the world and interacting over Teams. So it's wonderful to actually have you all here with us. To start with, Holly, could you give our listeners some insight into why international markets are so important to the CII Group?
Certainly. The first thing that I would say is that international members have been part of the CII Group for a very, very long time, since the outset. In fact, we've got members in 140 countries. And in total, there are just over 13,000 members. That makes up just under 11% of total membership. So this is definitely not an area that we should be ignoring, and absolutely one that's of huge importance to us. Now, as you'd imagine, we have members who are concentrated in different clusters around the globe, but actually anybody can join CII. And I think that it's testament to the fact that this is a global business. The CII brand has a really strong heritage and is really attractive, and people want to be part of the CII brand. And if we think about careers today, a big part of that is developing yourself professionally and also thinking about career mobility, whether that's within your own country and organisation or whether it's with an international viewpoint. So from that perspective, for the member, CII would be a really attractive option. For CII Group, it's vital for being able to fulfil the conditions of our Royal Charter. So our mission is to build public trust in insurance and personal finance. And a way that we can do that is to make sure that we've got coverage across the globe, recognising that there are markets with differing levels of maturity, and some of them may need our help in different ways, and indeed individual members may need our help in different ways. So let me talk a little bit more about that. We tend to work with regulatory bodies, governments, organisations, universities and training partners. So it's quite a complex ecosystem. And actually our approaches to different markets is the beauty, if you like, is figuring out how we can best support. And over the years, we've built up a bank of experience in terms of the different approaches that work. And I think we're going to talk a bit more about that later on. But essentially, the more members that we have internationally, the larger our community, the more that we can tap into that best practice and knowledge sharing. And actually, we can then reinvest in the development of the global market.
That's fantastic. Kenny, could we hear about how, you've been engaging with the local insurance and financial planning markets in your region to start with?
Yeah, thanks. At CII Hong Kong, we operate as a small team of 5 based in our regional office in Hong Kong. We engage closely with regulators, insurance associations, corporate partners, and universities to drive regional strategies that support the professional development of the insurance practitioners. Our initiatives include delivering globally recognized qualification locally, providing tailored CPD courses and seminars, and collaborating with affiliate institutes across countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Taiwan. Our outreach efforts are further supported by Goodwill Ambassadors in the region who volunteer to promote the CII qualifications and standards. Our partnership with universities facilitate recognitions of prior learning programs which offer exemption pathway to CII qualification. Additionally, we provide our CII lead program that is learning enhancement development and universities develop programs to encourage insurance qualifications. We also collaborate with the Hong Kong government on initiatives such as the Financial Incentives Scheme for professional training to subsidize the CPD programs.
Coming to you now, Gaenor, how are you engaging with local insurance and financial planning markets in the sort of Middle East?
Yeah, so it's where to start, really. We're a small team of 3. So there's myself, and we've got Irina that looks after the operations, and Gary that looks after corporate development growth. So basically, we work with regulators, universities, training companies, and corporates to raise awareness of who the CII are, what we do, what our mission is. And I think, you'll agree from the growth that you've seen in the Middle East and CSA regions, it's been working quite well. So, for example, we're working with the training arm of the regulator in the UAE. We're upskilling Emirati nationals with CII qualifications. And some of these Emiratis have actually got 100% pass rates. We've seen the largest groups of students going through CII qualifications with the highest pass rates. And we've put this on our website via testimonials and on social media. So we're shouting from the rooftops about that. In Saudi Arabia, we're doing similar programs through the Financial Academy, who are the training arm of the regulator there. So, we're doing our underwriting revision workshops, we're doing claims handling workshops, and also some technical workshops as well. And our relationship with the Financial Academy in Saudi is actually deepening and growing. So, we're looking to strengthen that relationship even more. Going wider afield, we're working in Jordan at the moment. So we've got one of our first approved professional development centres. I can't tell you the name, but it's ready to open any day. In Egypt, again, we've got 2 government entities applying for approved professional development centre status. In Uzbekistan, we've got an APDC and 2 IPPFs that have just been launched this year. And then I'm sure you'll have seen in Sri Lanka the success that Holly and I had when we visited there recently. So we went to the Sri Lanka Insurance Institute annual forum, and I can't tell you how warmly we were greeted by the Sri Lankans and how much, that they absolutely adore the CII, the heritage, the story behind the qualifications. And I'm sure that everybody will have seen Holly and I actually visiting Senaratne Insurance Brokers to meet Mr. Senaratne, who's actually been a CII member for 72 years, which, amazing. Yeah. So, been a bit busy.
Yeah, sounds like it. It's incredible. And finally, Isaac, the regions you look after, how have you been working with the markets there?
Oh, well, looking after Africa, Americas, Caribbean, and Europe, of course, we've got a kind of diverse range of countries in those sub-regions, I suppose. Generally, what I'd say is there's a strong affinity towards the CII and CII qualifications, basically. So similar to my colleagues in other regions, of course, we engage with training providers, governmental bodies, regulators, so on and so forth, really looking to understand primarily actually what the issues are in those localities and how the CI can more broadly support agendas from those organizations to, number one, raise awareness of insurance, raise technical capacity of professionals within those markets, and ultimately help those markets to broaden and deepen penetration, insurance penetration in those markets. So one of the things that we do, of course, is we deliver qualification programs to the market, whether it's certificate in insurance programs, fast-track programs that help individuals have a broader understanding of insurance fundamentals. That is one of the things that we do. We also work with them to deepen that knowledge and start to create their own in-house expertise by helping those professionals achieve diploma and advanced diploma qualifications going forward, because it's quite important for those markets to have their own subject matter experts to help the market ultimately grow. So those are some of the things that we do. But ultimately, for us, it's a two-pronged approach. It is normally bottom down, dealing with the technical capacity. But then we also like to look at the top down and look at the senior executives and, board members, CEOs within those markets. How can we support them in I suppose, better understanding this fast changing industry that we share globally. Of course, there are new advents in insurance. We've got, development in AI, as well as different other commercial lines that are now being increasingly involved in insurance. You've got things like parametrics, which is growing in influence within insurance. But ultimately, we use or call our insurance leadership program to support these leaders and help them in understanding the market and help them, have a good perspective of the industry and how do they actually navigate this ever-changing industry in the 3, 4, 5 years to come. So leadership programs are some of the things that we do to support those markets at a senior level.
That's amazing. Thank you. A great thing to hear across the board, though, is that, as Holly was saying, the strength of the CII brand really does sort of, I suppose, make your jobs a little bit easier, but also harder at the same time because everyone wants to be working with us. And also that recognition of our qualifications as well is really important. And it's great to hear how that's developing. So talking about some of the stuff that the CII offers to our members, we've launched a few years ago the professional map, which is seen as the golden thread for the CII Group. How is this being received by international policymakers, regulators and other stakeholders? So looking specifically at your regions. Gaenor, can I come to you first on that one?
Of course, yeah. So in the Middle East and CSA, the professional map's been received very positively, warmly, if you like. Regulators and corporates, they like the idea of having a blueprint of what good looks like. They like the idea of having well-rounded individuals in the sector. And it's great having, an overview, a framework of what this well-rounded professional should look like, not just from a qualifications and technical perspective, but it's sometimes, the behaviours that are lacking and overlooked. So in, many of the developing countries that we operate in, it's pivotal to future growth that we focus on trust, integrity, transparency, and these are all sort of pivotal to the professional map. So yeah, it has been greeted very, very well. And I can only see more and more countries adopting the professional map.
If I may add to that, I think particularly in my regions, what I've noticed is not only from a corporate perspective, I mean, the corporates have really embraced this in terms of lifting some of the load from them from a people development perspective, right? It's a competency framework that lists out the technical capabilities or technical competencies that an individual should have to be able to, effectively undertake different aspects of their role within insurers. But from an individual perspective, I think this has been embraced because it provides a clear path for an individual who's wondering, particularly, how can they develop themselves and how can they climb the career ladder, moving from maybe a new entrant to middle management, or of course, if it's middle management, is trying to get into the C-suite. So I think the professional map has been a really clear foundation and a clear map for individuals to navigate themselves, basically helping them understand actually what do I need to do to move from this stage of my career to the next, and adequately signpost what they need to do to gain the skills that have been highlighted within that particular map. So I think it's been absolutely phenomenal.
Kenny, what about yourselves in sort of the Hong Kong and Asia Pacific region?
In the Asia Pacific regions that we have received positive feedback regarding CII as a reputable professional body. The professional map is viewed as a golden thread, aligning qualifications and professional standards that enhance public trust, ensure regulatory conformity, and foster collaboration among stakeholders to advance the insurance profession internationally. And also that we can look to conducting more workshops and training sections on the professional map to engage our stakeholders, will raise awareness and generate further interest in this excellent competency framework and a career development tool.
I think that's really important. And I'd just like to add that stakeholders can have confidence that we've done the thinking for them and that they don't need to reinvent the wheel. And the fact that we engaged with so many different professionals across the globe and in different types of roles means that we've got a really broad view of what good looks like. And, recently over the summer, we've introduced new skill areas around things like AI governance and sustainability, and also more around the enabling functions who are also working within the market. So I think that drive to keep it up to date will give confidence in its credibility. And certainly we're seeing at regulator level or at national training level, they are looking at this as a potential solution to identify skills gaps and training needs analysis.
It's been a brilliant tool, and we're seeing more and more people adapting it. And like you say, it's over the summer we've expanded what it actually entails and the people that can use it. So it's wonderful to hear that it's not just being used at a sort of local level in the UK, but it's being embraced across the globe. Thinking back to 2023, the CII released a strategic plan with several pillars, and one of those was looking at world-class learning. How are we delivering that for your regions, and how are CII qualifications viewed? Isaac, would you be able to start with that one?
I suppose, like I said previously, the CII qualifications are being very well received internationally. A host of government bodies, but more importantly, the insurance industry, recognize its CII qualifications as part of requirements for individuals to actually be able to be licensed to undertake insurance activities internationally. So I would say there's a strong affinity to CII qualifications. More importantly, when I speak to senior individuals within the organization, there seems to be an acceptance that CII is quite thorough. And if there's an applicant who applies and they hold CII qualifications, you can almost bank on it that they know exactly what they're talking about, and they are extremely competent for the roles that they're applying for. And that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. A lot of work has gone into developing these qualifications. More importantly, there's a lot of support that we give to the market in terms of helping individuals achieve the qualification, whether through using our subject matter experts who we use in delivering the training to support individuals in achieving the qualification, because of course our primary objective is to ensure that there is a deep understanding of the technical content, and then enable those individuals to apply it given into their different market contexts. So I think, like I said, there's a strong acceptance of CII qualifications, particularly in the regions that I oversee.
What about you, Kenny? What's your experience?
So I would say that the world-class learning is achieved through continuous professional development that we call CPD. There's a workshop, seminars, and accredited qualifications tailored to meet regional market needs and regulatory standards. In Hong Kong, that we have implemented several initiatives to deliver world-class learning, that including that Hong Kong is part of the government's financial support for the professional training, which subsidized the insurance practitioners in Hong Kong for attending the high-quality CPD training. And apart from that, CII also got a lead program developed in partnership with Hong Kong University Space, provided insurance and financial professionals with a fast-track pathway to CII qualifications through CPD training. Lastly, the Hong Kong University Certified Insurance Practitioner course offers individuals a comprehensive curriculums adapted from CII modules that cover insurance, finance, law, and ethics, all tailored to Hong Kong regulatory framework. And the CII qualifications are prestigious and globally recognized, supported by practical training and strong collaboration with local education provider. The support helps our members enhance their expertise and credibility as well.
That's great to hear.
It was interesting to hear Kenny talk about the regulatory framework in Hong Kong, and certainly we're getting endorsement at regulator level now, at government level, for our qualifications. Example being just in this year, the UAE has mandated ACII for CEOs. We're quite early in the process, but we're expecting that to drive more interest and uptake. Similarly, Kuwait and Sri Lanka later in the year followed suit. We're expecting to see more of this. And this really is linked to professionalising the industry and ultimately driving up levels of public trust so that we can increase penetration of insurance and personal finance products in the markets.
Ah, fantastic to hear. I feel like Holly may have stolen some of your lines there, Gaenor, but looking at the sort of the Middle East and Central and South Asia, would you say that the sort of CII qualifications are held in the same regard as they are in other markets?
I think, keeping it brief, there are two words that describe CII qualifications throughout the Middle East and Central and South Asia regions, and that's gold standard. Yeah, the CII is looked at as the professional for anything insurance related. I know we are financial services as well, but anything insurance related, we're looked at as the specialist. This has also been evidenced with, I just talked about the UAE regulator training programs for Emirati nationals. They've got the highest pass marks globally. These students, English is not their first language. They're doing English qualifications and getting 100% pass mark. So, this is a true testimonial and evidence of, how we're viewed.
It's great to hear that we are being seen in such high regard for both our standards and for our qualifications. So recently we held the Apprenticeship and Education Awards, and as part of that we saw international winners for both of those. Holly, would you say this is a testament to the work we are doing to strengthen our international recognition?
Definitely. I think it shows that we've got students from across the globe. Everybody who sits an exam gets entered automatically. And the fact that we had a high proportion of international winners in the categories just shows the calibre and the quality of the education that is being undertaken. And, I think hat off, really. It's not easy. The studies being juggled alongside work and family commitments, and also not always the first language, as we said before. So I think it was hugely inspiring to be at those events and to see that some people brought their families along. And, it really shows that this has an impact on lives and livelihoods, and there's a huge amount of pride that goes with that. The other thing I would say is it's not just the award ceremony, which is the pinnacle of the absolute highest mark winners that we should be thinking about. We should be celebrating more broadly, and we are. So Isaac is currently organising a graduation ceremony for students across Africa. So we're making sure that we're recognising those achievements whenever people go through the qualifications, which is equally important as the ones that come out at the top.
No, absolutely. And I think highlighting there that the CII actually held its first central graduation on the same day as the awards. And I know that working with Isaac, he's been hosting international graduations for a few years now, and it is important that students across the globe get the recognition for the hard work they put in. Again, with the Apprenticeship Awards, one of the winners came from your region. Did you want to talk a bit more about that?
Absolutely. This was Tawania in Saudi Arabia. So previous to the awards, we weren't really working with Tawania so much. We knew they were a corporate, they knew who we were, and, we've had lots of conversations. But since the awards, this has absolutely strengthened our relationship. Tawania came to London for the awards, and they also met with Holly and Matthew in London. Matthew actually came out to Saudi Arabia for an event with the Insurance Authority in October, and we actually spent an evening with Tawania. So it just shows the support for the CII, the engagement that corporates want with the CII. It's just a case of us reaching out to everybody and making them aware of what we do and how they can be included.
Oh, that's fantastic. Isaac, as we sort of brought you into the previous bit about the sort of graduation stuff, did you want to talk any more about that?
Yeah, so over the last, I suppose, 2 to 3 years, really, we've been making it one of our missions to recognise professionals within the insurance markets internationally, particularly as they go through the process of obtaining CII qualifications. As we know, there's a lot of work, hard sweat, sleepless nights that goes into obtaining these qualifications. Certainly, recognizing the sacrifices that professionals in different markets make to achieve these qualifications, I think is maybe the least that we can do. And we certainly try to do that. So one of the things that we do is through the virtual graduation is acknowledge individuals who achieve diploma level or above. over the course of a 12-month period. And that's been pretty successful. It's been very widely appreciated across the markets, and something that we're looking to do more of. Over time, we'll look at how we can be innovative in actually extending that, or how we recognize those professionals. But yeah, it's been fantastic to be able to deliver that over the last 2 or 3 years.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So, Kenny, another pillar from the strategic plan is around engaged membership. How do you engage with our members in the sort of Asia Pacific region?
It's for the membership engagement that varies across the region, and we are committed to providing region-specific continued professional development, as I always talking about CPD opportunities, and local networking events and market insights through the Asia Pacific Journal. We continue to adapt our content to include local topics in the journal and have introduced interviews with CII elite members in Asia Pacific region to showcase their success stories. And our ambassador provides us with feedback and local market intelligence, helping us understand our members' needs. In addition of that, we have over 3 seminars and webinars to our members in the Asia Pacific region, and we'll introduce a market webinar series in next year as well, focusing on the US market, Indonesia market, and Lloyd's market. And finally, we are offering a special discount at 50% off CPD event in Hong Kong to support the CPD for all our members in Hong Kong and Asia Pacific region as well.
That's brilliant to hear. What about you, Gaenor? How are you engaging with members?
Oh gosh, in so many ways, really. We do a lot of activity on LinkedIn. We put a lot of testimonials on LinkedIn. So how members have found their study journey, going through the different pathways to certificate, to diploma. Because I know we hear a lot about fellows and advanced diploma, but it's also very important to hear about people just starting CII qualifications so they can understand that they're not as difficult as they may think. They can fit in around your working life, your family life, flexibility, really, showing that there is plenty of flexibility. We've been attending a lot of events. So, Matthew's been to the region, Holly's been to the region, and I've actually spoke at some events in the UAE. Webinars, we do lots of webinars for our corporates. It might be just something simple on, the pathways to qualifications, or how to access the My CII, basic webinars on how to. Again, we've been doing a lot on the website with testimonials, and the Middle East team are also working on a graduation event. So it'll be on an online graduation event that will happen at the end of the year.
Isaac, I mean, you'd almost think there's quite an expansive region. I mean, probably a lot to do to try and engage with those different sort of members around those sort of areas that you cover.
It is. I mean, of course, given the size of the region, we focus a lot more around partnerships. We've got a wide range of affiliated institutes across different regions, and that's some of the ways that we use to support members in some way. We're connected with those affiliated institutes through which sometimes we share CPD content, or, develop and create content for local members. So that's one of the ways in which we do that. But I suppose at risk of just patting ourselves on the back, we're quite cognizant of the fact that we need to do more, of course, to raise awareness of some of the fundamental benefits of membership across our international regions, whether it be things like e-mentoring program, which are designed to bring professionals across the world together, experienced individuals who perhaps, have gone a long time in the industry and now looking to give back, with individuals who maybe just starting their insurance professional journey. So we've got programs in place to do that. We've got a wealth of information on our website, whether it's reports, white papers, CPD content, so on and so forth. I think there is a large percentage of our member populace who perhaps are not aware of the full wealth of the information that we have to support them in their professional journeys as part of their membership. So, raising that awareness is another way that we try to do that. And hopefully we can achieve some of those objectives, going forward.
I think building on what everybody said, we get We get frustrated when people think, well, I'm going to have my membership while I'm doing the qualification and then I don't need it anymore. And actually, membership is about career partnership, and there's something in there for anybody at any career stage, or whether you're looking for a new role, whether you've just started a new role, whether you've moved to a new company, whether you're just looking to build skill. There's not a time limit on it. So that's certainly something that we're trying to encourage.
Oh, that's fantastic. And of course, if you want to hold a designation from the Chartered Insurance Institute, you have to be a member. You can't be cert CII unless you're a full CII member, which I think is something that sometimes gets neglected by people sitting exams. And I know it's a campaign that we ran last year to sort of try and raise more awareness around. Gaenor, Kenny's talking about goodwill ambassadors that they have, and I know that you have goodwill ambassadors in your regions as well. How do you interact with them?
So goodwill ambassadors, they're our angels in disguise. So we have several goodwill ambassadors throughout the Middle East. These are professionals from the market, senior professionals that hold, high-level CII qualifications, normally a fellowship or an advanced diploma. And we look for senior individuals in the insurance sector so that they can support the market. So, we're based in the UAE. We have an office in the UAE, but we tend to have a goodwill ambassador in each country that we operate. So, they have students, members have somebody on the ground that they can go to if they're looking for advice, if they're looking for reassurance, if they've just got general questions on how to renew your CII membership, what's the most direct pathway to diploma. And again, when we have changes within the CII, we put that on our website, it's out there on LinkedIn, through social media, but our goodwill ambassadors are amplifying this through their channels as well. So, for example, the professional map that we've just talked about, our goodwill ambassadors will be, speaking to corporates and individuals, HR functions about the professional map. So, they're our angels in disguise, and they are absolute, advocates of the CII.
Wonderful. Isaac, anything to add from your point of view?
On top of that, I'll certainly concur with your assessment there. They certainly are angels. They're more than that even. Perhaps, we'll call them scouts. We'll call them, they take forward the CII brand and live the values of the CII in their locality, really. So for me, in my region, we've got a couple of goodwill ambassadors across Africa and then also the Caribbean. Yet to have any in the Americas and Europe. That's something that we are looking to develop. So, of course, if there are individuals out there who think they could do a good job, then, of course, we're happy to have a conversation around that. But more importantly, really, what goodwill ambassadors, I think, provide to us is, some of that on-the-ground knowledge of the local market. They really help us to understand the needs of professionals within that kind of insurance or financial services ecosystem that they have on ground. And that allows us in turn to respond to those needs, whether with changes to processes, changes to products, or things that we need to do in general to actually meet the needs of the industry in that country. So there are infinitely useful resource, and we're ever grateful to the ones we have. And of course, I'm sure my colleagues will concur when we say we're happy to onboard some more.
It's fantastic. That's great to hear. Sticking with you, Isaac, and sort of looking forward, how do you expect our international presence and activity to evolve in 2026 and beyond?
Well, I think we've done some great work this year, whether in developing programs and delivering them across all our different regions. For me personally, I think there's an increased, what we've seen this year is an increased engagement with regulatory bodies, governmental bodies, as part of our kind of general overall public policy strategy. And that, I think, is yielding some good fruit for us, basically, because of part of our objective to help raise professional standards across different markets. This is it is quite a useful thing. So whether we're looking at places like Ethiopia, Rwanda, where we've been having conversations with the national banks and the regulators in those markets, about how we can help to, number one, support the growth of the industry, put in place professional plans to help develop the market and raise technical capacity in those markets. I think those conversations, we're looking to supercharge that in the year to come and provide more value for those professionals in different markets, really.
Fantastic. And Kenny?
Well, so looking ahead, the international presence is expected to deepen through the strengthening partnership and localization of the CI qualifications and offering. And we will explore development in Hong Kong, particularly, and also China, and expand it to the wider Southeast Asia, where there is a strong demand for insurance and financial planning, education to the professionalize the professional in these regions. And CII in Hong Kong, that we plan to continue leveraging support from our corporate partners to engage and develop learners through the CII journey in Asia-Pacific region.
Oh, that's wonderful. How about you, Gaenor?
So my view is it's only going to get stronger and deeper. That's evidence with the support that we've received from Holly and from Matthew visiting the regions, not just the Middle East. They've been out visiting various countries and saying, we're here, we're open for business, we're open to partner, we're looking to grow the business. From my perspective, I think there's two things that we're working on. So, working with regulators, we're doing that in most of the countries where throughout the Middle East and CSA, working on the mandating of qualifications, such as in the UAE, where they've already done this for senior executives, and in Sri Lanka. And then another area of growth I see in the Middle East and Central and South Asia is training, tailoring trainers for corporates, training programs for corporates, not just revision programs, but technical programs, soft skills, so that we are getting these round individuals, that we talked about, linking back to the professional map. So yeah, I see a two-pronged approach, working with the regulators on mandating minimum qualifications and working with the training team on strengthening our footprint on the ground so that we can support students effectively, knowing that they're going to get a fantastic experience from specialist trainers.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Holly, did you have anything you wanted to add on that?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the year ahead. We've just spent a really good couple of days with the board, actually, who have been talking to us about international, giving us their support brilliantly, and also their ideas and the benefit of their expertise. So I think the year ahead, we're going to have quite a broad focus, but we can't do everything. We're a relatively small team. And so we do have to think about how we best prioritise. So there's a lot of conversation about markets. And I think there are the three levels: mature markets that we're in, ones that have got fast growth agendas, and then others that are emerging and just need that different support. So it's not the one size fits all approach. It's about tailoring the proposition to each of those scenarios. So, but the headline themes really are going to be advocacy and influence, and also leveraging partnerships that we've got, like the Commonwealth, for example, and also the Department of Business Trade to support our efforts. Thinking about supercharging those partnerships and programs that we've been hearing about, and also making sure we've got the right level of visibility and voice, so that we're signalling to the market that, we're here, we want to support, and we're here to champion and celebrate the profession. And the final thing that I say, I think we've got ground to make up, and more thought to be given to how we develop the personal finance opportunities internationally, because historically there has been more of a focus on the insurance side, and that's something that we're looking to change.
It sounds like you're all very busy and you've got a lot to go on for the next year and beyond. So lastly, thank you all for joining me on the podcast today. It's been really great to hear how the CII Group is engaging with our international members and markets. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Watch this space.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Journal Podcast. You can find useful links in the show notes and related articles on the Journal website, along with further podcasts. Please like, review, and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.